guys, it's Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. I have another great one from the Hollies today. We learn how to do the Air That I Breathe. So this one has a lot of guitar solos in it. Not challenging ones, not crazy ones. They're pretty short, but they're fun to do. There's a few of them. So we're gonna check those out and go through all the chords of the song as well. I'm gonna talk to you about a little bit about the voicings they're probably using. There's multiple guitar tracks here. Just one's playing like basic tracks, like I'm gonna show you most of the thing. And there's one's doing different types of voicings of those same chords. And they just layer them all together. I will also let you know, I'm doing this in standard tuning. And I believe that's what they're recording this in. And they record it and they perform it as it's in C. And when you see them record it, that's how they play it. But when you perform it at least. But on the recording, it's flat. The tuning is halfway between B and C. All right, so what I've done is I'm in standard tuning. I'm gonna play it like they do when they play it live, and then it's in C. I believe that's what it was. But in the analog days, things got slowed down a little bit here and there. Anyway, so that's how we're gonna do it. So let's start here, first of all, with the chords that work underneath this intro solo here. So it looks like this. All right, so it's a C add 9 chord. This is underneath that solo, and I'll show you the solo in a second. So we're gonna start here with the C add 9 chord. What is that? That's a C major chord with a D added into it. So we still have the full C, and then we're gonna have a 9th in it, which is what that D is. So it's an add 9. So that's just the 3rd fret there on the A, 2nd on the D, open G, 3rd fret there on the B, open high E. Then it goes to a B flat major chord. You can play it like this. However it's comfortable for you, or I use my pinky, which a lot of people don't do, but that's the first finger on first fret on the A string, and then the 3rd fret across the D, G, and the B. So we play those 2 chords down to that B flat. There's a quick little F major chord, just kind of hit once, which is a full bar at the 1st fret, 2nd fret on the G, 3rd on the D, 3rd on the A. And then it jumps back to that C add 9 real quick. So the first time you hit that F, it's very quick. And then the second time, there's a more deliberateness that they hit it with right before they go to the verse. So it's just that. Repeat. More deliberate kind of strum on that F, and then we get to the verse. All right, so what is going on over that, this solo? So there is multiple guitars going there in that solo. This continues while you hear this. While you hear that, you still hear this continue. So what I'm gonna do is kind of do the main part of the solo as it goes and develops. Obviously, we can't play 2 guitar parts at the same time. So we're gonna start here with this. So that's a bend at the 12th fret on the G and release. Over to the 10th fret there on the D, and then a little slow trill between 8 and 10 on the D string. And then you're gonna jump up to this, which is the 10th fret there on the G. Slide to 12, and as you're still holding that 12 on the G, add the 12th on the high E above it. Then you're gonna do another one of those slow trills between 10 and 12 on the G. And then end the solo by jumping up here to the 15th fret there on the B string. So we have this. then we get to the verse, which is pretty cool. So it looks like this. All right, so this is gonna start with a C major chord with G in the bass. Most of the time you hear a C major in this song, it's gonna have the G in the bass. It's kind of a standard voicing you see played all the time. So that's just a third fret on the low E and the A, second fret there on the D, open G, first fret there on the B, open high E. Then to an E major chord. Then it goes to an F major, like we did earlier. And then from that F major, they turn it into an F minor just by lifting up the middle finger. And then back to that C with the G in the bass. So this is kind of the standard kind of way that you're gonna see it. But on the recording, you're gonna hear this. You kind of hear the C, and then more advanced voicings on top. So you see how that I did that instead of that E major here, you still have this on the recording, but you do have this on top. Somebody else doing a voicing like that. So I'm not gonna really talk about all those, but those are going on up here. So if you have a second guitar player, you can just do that voicing of an E major, which is the bar to the fourth fret, from the high E across to the G. Then the fifth fret there on the B string. So 4, 5, 4, 6 on the D, 7 on the A with the low E open. That's an E major chord. And then you'd move that up to the F. Of course, you can't have the open 6th string anymore. So that's just E major to an F major instead of this. So, or along with this. And then when it went to the F minor, just jump up here to the 8th fret there on the A, 10 on the D, 10 on the G, and 9 on the B. So you hear that. If you have two guitar players, it might make sense for one to kind of join you there. The same C. All right, so hopefully that makes sense there. And then at the 58-second mark, we have this little, it kind of sounds like a pre-chorus, but they only do it once and they don't go to a chorus. So it's just thrown in there, but it looks like this. All right, so it's pretty simple. It's just 3 chords. It's an E minor for 2 bars. And then to that F minor chord we did before for a bar, and then to that C with the G in the bass. And then you repeat that again. Now there it goes back to the verse again that we just did. So that C, E to F minor to C. So it goes back to that verse. And then out of that second verse, we get the actual chorus. And the chorus of the song is really cool. It's got a nice melody to it. And then like the second half of it, they have a really cool section where they have a little solo that comes in all the time over it too. So let me play for the chorus first here. So we'll look at the solo too. So it looks like this. And it kind of does a little G there at the end. So anyway, so that's just C to G for a little bit. So from that C, it goes to a G. So that C with the G in the bass, you already get that G in your hand, right? Then just play the second fret there on the A, open D, open G, open B, third from the height. So. Back to that C. Back to the G. Back to C. Now this time when it goes to the G, it goes from a G to a G minor. Really cool. So G major, and then do a full bar at the third fret there. And then you get in front of that, you'll have the fifth fret on the A and the D. So that's from the G. And then down to the F and the C. Then it does that whole move again. G to G minor to F to C. And then there's an end it with a G that goes back to the verse, the same verse thing. All right, so that second half of that chorus, you know, it's got that G to G minor to F to C progression that kind of repeats twice. That's like the second half of the chorus. Over that, we have our second guitar solo. All right, so that solo looks like this. All right, so this is very similar to the solo that's going to happen over the next chorus. But we're going to start here this. So this is a bend and release at the 13th fret there on the B string. Oh, down to 11 on the B, down to 12 on the G. And then a couple of bend and release on that 13 on the B. Then come up here. So that's going to be 14 on the G, then 13 on the B. Into the bend at the 15th fret there on the B. And then play that 15 on the high E string. Then pick the bent 15 on the B, release, and down to the 13. From there we had this. So that's going to be that 14 on the G to the 13 on the B again. Bend at the 15, then the 15 without the bend. Then you're going to play 12, hammer on 15, pull back off to 12. And then some bends and release there at the 15th fret there on the B. So all together for that second solo, I guess. All right, then we get to the same verse again. So the same verse, same chorus again. Now this second chorus has a little bit different solo over it. So very, very similar though. So let me play through that solo in the kind of this last chorus section. Looks like this. So the only difference with that was the beginning of the one before this was, and this one is instead. So it's just constant bend of the 13th fret there on the B string, and then that release, and then everything after that's the same. All right, then we get, after that solo, it just goes back and does the chorus again, because it's the end of the song, or they're getting ready to go to the fade out. But when it's going to that fade, so that very last chorus, so they do the chorus the normal way and have that solo at the end of it, but then instead of going to the verse, like they did earlier in the song, they go back to the beginning of the chorus, but they just play that first half of the chorus where it's just that C to G, over and over again. They don't do that whole G, G minor, F, C thing. They just go. Just kind of repeat that. So you're not going to have that kind of second half of the chorus there at the end. It's just those first two, the C to G, just kind of back and forth until it fades out. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's got some cool little guitar solos in it and some nice chord progressions and nice melodies, so it's a fun song to play. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.